Hello there, it's Jessie here. Welcome to the channel. Boy, do I have updates for you. So guys, I really missed you. I'm very glad to be back. Look at the sun beaming down on my face right now. It's gonna move as the video goes on, but I quite liked it. On my hand too, look at that. Ah. Anyway, just to let you know, I've had about 2 hours sleep. So I'm in delirious land. I'm in another world. I've got one foot at one hand and my face in another world where it's all golden and light. No, really, I don't know. I'm going to be chatting some shit. I have no idea how long this is going to be. But you know how long it is because you can see. So that's weird, isn't it? Because you're in the future. You're in my future. But it's your present right now, and we're in this present moment together. But you're in my future, and you know something that I don't know yet. And I'm in your present, not your past. Okay, this is where we're at, guys. So, I have been in the mountains doing some deep work. I don't even know where to begin with it. We're basically training awareness to raise consciousness. That's the idea, that we facilitate the raising of consciousness after 2 years of work. And I'm 6 months into it, and my God. So I'm going to share my insights that I had on 2 hours sleep, and we're going to see how it goes. All right, are you ready? Get comfortable, get a cup of tea if you like, whatever your beverage of choice is. Settle down. It's story time. Okay, I'm gonna get comfortable. Oh, and we've got these headphones in. Sorry, I hope the microphone's all right. My camera's gone missing, but I normally use the microphone with. And does anyone else do this? When something goes missing, you're like, someone's taken it. It's my immediate thought every time. I have learned over the years not to immediately assume someone's taken it, but I've looked everywhere, and I've been gone for 10 days. I had it when I left, and I've looked everywhere, and it's not, I can't find it, so someone's definitely taken it. And I'll let you know when I find it. Borrowers, you know the borrowers, the tiny little people that live in the walls of your house and they borrow things. I'm certain they exist, guys. I've lost things go missing. Like, look at my hand with that light. Things go missing a lot in my life. Like, I bought some new socks. I treated myself to some knee-length cashmere socks for the winter. And I was going to take them up to the mountain because it's a bit chilly up there. And by the time I got there, I'd already lost one of my new socks, never worn, gone. The borrowers have it. And when I lose stuff like that, it just disappears. I'm like, all right, borrowers, you can borrow it, but give it back. And it's been quite incredible where things have turned up when I do that. All right, key takeaways. My phone hasn't got loads of batteries, so I might have to do this in several videos. We'll see how it goes. All right, lesson number one that I learned is that I use judgment as a form of keeping safe. Now let me explain. This module that I did focused on inner child work, right, and parenting, and like your real parents, and then like the parents inside of you and ancestors and all of this. And in doing the work, like doing the child work, I'm then touching on my core wound in this lifetime. Now, my core wound, terrifying. I repressed that, totally repressed it. I've talked about this before. So I could just live my life, which was great, until I got to about 27 and the coping mechanisms started breaking down and my mental health went out the fucking window. Paranoid, schizophrenic, all of that. I thought I was anyway. I went to a therapist and I was like, I've got structured paranoia and schizophrenia. Schizophrenia? Schizophrenia for this, and this. And he looked at me and he was like, there's no way you have schizophrenia because it's not something people often diagnose, self-diagnose. And I thought, okay, all right, so I've got enough of my mind to know that I'm not completely crazy, but I'm aware that there's craziness going on inside my head. And I think I've shared this with you before, but he said to me, schizophrenics drown in the waters where mystics float. I'll just leave that with you. That was brilliant. I needed to hear that at that time in my life. Anyway, judgment, right? So I was at the course touching on, so we're doing like it's a lot of psychology, psychotherapy, science, like a lot of modern techniques, breath work, and then a lot of ancient techniques like meditation. I'm tired, all right? And like shamanic rituals and ceremonies, and it's very holistic. It's beautiful. And a lot of like somatic, bioenergetic practices to awaken memories stored in the body, even ones, you know, like level 1 trauma, which is at birth, how your birth was, can be very traumatic for a person depending on their sensitivities or resilience. And you know, so I learned that this exists in the reptilian part of the brain, so it's before language, mate. It's before thought. Yes, it's really, really deeply stored, and there's certain things that you can do to awaken it and get them out. Anyway, so as I was touching close to the thing that I've avoided my entire life to protect me, I noticed some defense mechanisms came up. And when you're in this environment of like being pointed again and again at how you're behaving and what your patterns are, like why, I had to face my resistance. You know, and you have a little family and you have to share, and you've got a facilitator guiding you to the body and pushing just the right buttons to open you up. And my resistance came in the form of judgment for the work. I was like, fuck this. What are we doing here? What is going on? This is so unnecessary. Blah, 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 blah. Now, I've paid quite a lot of money to be in this place. And I was like, why am I here then? Why don't I just embrace this experience fully? And so I played with the judgment. This was the other thing. This is something I've learned about myself, is if I want to get through the resistance or whatever I'm doing, I need to like dramatize my resistance or whatever my mood is, like my ego's defense mechanism. So I was getting judgmental. So I let it go one time with my group, with my family, with the facilitator. I was like, this is fucking bollocks. And he was going, what are you resisting? What are you resisting? And I was like, you want to fight about it? But I was being playful. I didn't mean it. I knew I didn't want to fight the guy. I even told him, I was like, I've got a flamethrower in my hand and I'm going to set you on fire. And he was like, go on then. I was like, I let it out to see how ridiculous I was being. Like, what is going on? This isn't me. I'm here. I want to face my pain. I want to face it. So I went up again and I was like, all right, come on, let's go there. And I faced the void inside of me, that black hole, the void that's like this sucking in vortex where I really feel like if I go there, I'm gonna die. And being witnessed in this is something that is just, I cannot express how helpful it is to be witnessed in this expression for me, because the eyes on me make me face if I'm really being honest about it or not. And I was there like contorting, facing the horror, the terror that I felt, facing the fire of my core wound. I was incredibly disempowered, and I even realised like I'd been, well, that comes in a minute actually. So the facilitator I was with, he goes, all right, Jessie, look at that black hole and fill it with light. And I went from feeling so disempowered, so victimised, so afraid, to literally, I was like, oh, here's the light. Oh, I can shine light on it. And my body rose. I stood up tall, you know, poised. And I remembered I'm a total fucking alchemist. I'll speak for myself though. I can alchemize anything. I was reminded that the light and the love that I have inside of me is infinitely bigger than any trauma I've experienced, any event that I've experienced that's become trauma based on the way I responded to it at that time. Nothing's got nothing on me. Man, it was so good. It was so good to remember. I can't believe how many times I forget my power. Jesus. Even on this channel, you know, and thank you so much everyone who's here for me when I'm on my disempowered days, where I'm victimizing myself and confused and I'm like blah, blah, blah. Because they're just, I forget who I am, what I'm capable of, my multi-dimensional being where experiences Jessie's life for a flash of time. Oh, sorry, just had to check the time. 10:31, in case you're interested in why, you can see it anyway. I forget who I am. Yeah, so I'm so much bigger than Jessie, and yet here I am experiencing Jessie in this lifetime. And it's like I had this moment on the course after a breath work of like going somewhere else, another dimension, remembering that this life is so short and fleeting. And it was interesting because a lot of people shared that they didn't want to come back. There's so much suffering, and when we're doing this work, there's a lot of focus on suffering and trauma. And so it's like, why would I want to come back to this planet where our society is so sick? And I didn't feel like that. I was so happy to be back. I was like, thank God. Mainly, I've got a twin sister, Zita, and I was like, this is my lifetime as Jessie with Zita, and it's going to be over in a flash. It's like when a movie ends and you're like, oh, it's over. That's really what I feel like when we die. It's going to be like, oh, that was that. And my God, do I want to make sure that I live out Jessie's dreams and desires while I'm here being her. Oh, remember. Very good to remember. It's very good to remember. That was the first thing. Judgment is a form of resistance. Yet, when I come close to vulnerability, so that was an example of when I came close to vulnerability of feeling pain that I haven't allowed I couldn't feel at the time. It's too overwhelming for little me. And now even as an adult, when I know I can just go there and I'm not going to die, it's still very hard. Judge, keep away. I judge. This is what I did with, if you remember, like early on this year, I fell out with my friend. I was so judgmental, man, because I realised I had to judge her decision in her life because it was easier. And I didn't even know I was doing this, right? It was unconscious, but it was easier for me to judge and totally believe that judgment over feeling the grief and the loss I have of her starting a family with someone else. It's losing my best friend. And I couldn't face that grief. I didn't know, so I just judged it. Mad. And I also use this judgment for love, for good things, because it's not just pain and suffering and fear, it's vulnerability. And I feel vulnerable when I love as well. So I self-sabotage relationships of love all the time because I judge them because I'm scared. I'm vulnerable in love. So it goes amazing. What the fuck? Anyway, don't even judge that I judge. That is little Jessie's way of feeling safe. Mostly learnt by my mother as well. She's quite judgmental and critical. So, and it's not her fault either. She learnt that. We learnt it. The women in my line learned that's how we survive, and we have survived up until now, before I went crazy. And now I'm doing the work. So my judgment of the work was judgment of how I was approaching the work. Maybe. I don't know. Whatever. Alright. Identify. Yeah, exactly. So I touched on this. I was going to go there earlier. Part of what I've realised as well about myself is when I'm in a group, like we're doing this trauma work, and of course we're sort of like giving our stories, and this happened to me and this happened to me, and I fell into the trap of identifying with the stories. I identified with my story. I was identifying as a traumatised person. Boring. Like really boring. Didn't even realise I was doing it until I got empowered again, and I was like, what the fuck? It's just something that happened, and the whole point of this lifetime is for me to just reparent myself and tell me that I can think about it differently. Where's the wisdom? How can I reframe this event to mean something beautiful? So that was nice. Right, next. Trust in the process of life. Okay, so I was talking to my friend yesterday and she told me, and I'm going to butcher this because I don't fully understand what she meant by it, but there's no such thing as doubt. And I have to go back, and she should be telling you this really, because I'm going to butcher it. But what I understood from it at the time, what it clicked in for me, was is this necessary? I doubt the course, because I was judging the course. I felt like, this is what my judgment was, is the group was slowing me down, because we weren't able to do certain parts of the course. We were going to do work on past lives and future lives, and we weren't able to do it because we ran out of time, because the group was slow, like a bit late sometimes, loads of questions, and it just moved at a different pace. So it was like, we're not going to do this in this module because of the group dynamic. And I was like, oh, I really wanted to do that stuff. I hadn't done that stuff before. I was really looking forward to it, and I got a bit pissed off with the group. You know, I was like judging it. I was like, you're slowing me down, guys. And when my friend told me this, like, doubt doesn't exist, it's just a different form of trust, something like that. Maybe you know more than I do about that. Mate, who am I to say that I know what's best for me, and that it was going to be more beneficial for me to have these parts of the course we didn't have? Maybe it's exactly what I needed. I'm in this group for the next 2 years for a reason. Maybe I need to be in a slow group. Maybe I need to be slowed down. Who knows? Like, oh my God, do I need to also remember to surrender to the mystery of life? Like, it knows much more than we do. Much more than I do, and I'm going to speak for myself, and if I say we, I'm sorry, I mean I. Like, either it resonates with truth for you or it doesn't, and either way is great, as long as something I'm saying is triggering your inner guidance of what you believe to be true, and we all get to do that. That's it. Alright, then, what else happened? I really hope my battery lasts, because I'm liking it. We did this exercise called the White Pearl, which was at the end of the retreat with our families we'd been with for half the time, 5 days. Someone had to sit in the hot seat, and everyone had to give positive feedback, like from the heart, like what they saw in that person, what they were inspired by, and what they admired. And it wasn't you are, but it was my perception of you is. Beautiful. Now, what was quite interesting is, like, everyone in my group had a lot of tears when they received the feedback. It's really touching them, and it didn't make me cry, and I thought it would, because I cry really easily, but it didn't make me cry. And I thought, well, I just sat here being really arrogant, like everything they're saying I'm like, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know I'm all these wonderful things. Am I being fucking arrogant? Maybe. I really was like, and all the feedback they gave, I was a bit like, is that it? What? You see how my ego works. It's quite crazy. Anyway, I don't mind. I don't care. I really thought, is that it? Is that enough? Is it enough? Lol. It's just their perception. It's just their perception anyway. And I've heard that people can only perceive you to the level they perceive themselves. Some of these people might perceive themselves to a greater level than I do, if that makes sense. So I might not have heard their feedback. Like, it's just a perception. Receiving all that positive feedback is the same as receiving negative feedback. Like, it's someone's perception. Does it ring true in you or not? I liked it. Again, I was like, wait a minute, there's certain things they didn't say that I perceive in myself. Great, good for you, Jessie. You perceive things in yourself other people might not perceive. To hold on to that dearly. That's yours. It's mine. So, doesn't mean I don't have those qualities. If I see them, it's true. People, blah, 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 blah. Inspiration, positive feedback, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the main thing, my favourite piece of feedback that someone gave to me was, and it was the first thing someone said, is you're a perfect storm. You're a perfect storm. When there's the rain and the wind and the thunder and the lightning, and then the sun comes out, and then there's a rainbow, and it's everything, all the weathers all at once, hail, snow, fuck it. What else? Fog, mist, whatever. I loved it. I am a perfect storm. I love that. I'm gonna identify with that for a bit. Thank you. Don't betray yourself. That was a huge piece of work we had to do. Don't betray yourself. Is it what you want to do in that moment? Doesn't matter what everyone else is doing. Please. Jessie, I'm telling myself this to remind myself. Don't betray yourself. Oh, God, we got so much about relationships. Blah, 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 blah. let me just see if I'm gonna, let me just see what I've got. Oh, okay, this whole thing I've got going on about like men at the minute, and this other thing I've got going on about money, but I'm gonna go here, which was alchemizing a bad mood, because once I was like reminded of my power and what I can do, the next day I woke up in a terrible mood, and honestly I think it's because I was sharing a room all week and my period had come and her period had come at the same night. Both our periods had come and it was early for both of us, and we were like two lines. But I love this woman to bits. She's got a huge heart, but it was like I woke up and I was feeling her energy. I like to point it out on others, but I really need to take responsibility for that and learn not to be so easily influenced by the people that I'm around. I'm sure there's something I could do that I haven't learned yet. But I was in this terrible mood, and then we went and did this active meditation where you just do gibberish, where reparenting your inner child with what you needed to hear from mum and dad, just and I did it, and then we shake for a bit, and then we shake, and then we like bring in light, and then you meditate. And I just remembered, like, Jessie, remember who you are. You can alchemize anything, even this terrible mood you're in. And I alchemized it, and I came out like, floating like an angel. And I've been on this high for like the last couple of days, and like I got back last night, just couldn't sleep. It was just talking to my housemate till 4 in the morning. Beautiful insights, and I might share some of that when I do the relationship thing in this video or not, who knows. Stay tuned. So I'm delirious right now, but I'm still feeling very empowered, like nothing can stop me. I will probably collapse at some point, but yeah, I know. Peter Pan, right, so one thing we had to do this week is dress up as a childhood hero. My childhood hero is Peter Pan. Maybe I told you before, but my great, I don't know if it's 2 greats or 3, I don't know. Great-great-grandfather's brother or cousin, not exactly sure, was J.M. Barrie. He wrote Peter Pan. It's always been very dear to me, this story, knowing that. And when I found out we had to bring a costume, I was like, Peter Pan, immediately, easy. I dressed up as Peter Pan at my middle school prom when I was 13. Was fancy dressed up as Peter Pan. Now, I was in my element that age of my life. Loving life before I started high school. Yeah, it was really, really good. And I dressed up as Peter Pan, and honestly, back in the day, I was life and soul of the party. I would always be in the middle of the dance floor. I'm the last one up, always. Boom, boom, boom. But since the pandemic, and I sort of died many a death in 4 years, and transformed and learned and opened up and new things and went crazy, I stopped partying, really. Got a bit overwhelming for me being around so many people like with substances inside of them. But I love to party. And when I dressed up as Peter Pan, I remembered that I love to party, and we had a bit of a disco. We were doing work, and I'm not going to go into it, but after each person shared, like, did their little performance as their character and like how they're going to save the world as this hero, we had to dance all together, and then it would boom, boom, boom. And I was honestly like 13 again, like, and I haven't been like this with this group. I've been quite like shy, which I'm all right about. It takes me a while to open up, and I'm absolutely all right with that. My life experience has taught me that that's safer for me to do. Just take your time. It's all right. Don't judge myself for it. I used to really berate myself, like, why, even like a month ago, why can't I show who I am to people? Well, because of your life experience. Battery power, 15%, guys, we're on 15%. Which is kind of true for how I'm feeling right now. So when the battery of my phone dies, probably when I'm gonna go to bed. So just up as Peter Pan, remembered, and honestly, as good as it felt to feel 13 again and like really like, I love to party, it was deeply sad. Emotion of grief was rushing up in me for the 10 years that I lost where I forgot. And you see, the thing about Peter Pan, I wrote down loads of quotes before I started, is he was all about hope, like anything is possible. And like that guy knew how to fly. How? Because he believed he could. He taught people how to fly by just saying, if you believe you can fly, You can fly. And when I was a kid, I'd have recurring dreams of teaching people how to fly. Like Peter Pan, J.M. Barrie, rest in peace, my friend, he's in me. I really believe this. If you believe, I've always thought this as a kid, if you believe, it's possible. Really. And I know you're probably thinking, what, Jessie, we can't fly, but like internally we can, all right? And I even believe externally. I really fucking do. I know it's crazy. I'm crazy. So to remind myself that that's in me, that belief, and I forgot it. Forgot it for 10 years. Ugh. And I had to grieve that I felt sad about it. That I forgot my inner child's being. Outlook on the world, I forgot. I became an adult. This is what Peter Pan gets so pissed off about it, is like the worst, the trouble with the world is people grow up and they forget. And I did that, I was really sad about it, and now I'm going to try and, I'm just going to remember every day, I'm going to remember, and then on the days I forget, that's alright, I'm sure someone will remind me, or something will remind me again, and I just keep picking myself back up and remember, and that's it, that's all I'm going to do. Feeling very grateful, thank you. Right, so there is something else, but I'm going to make it in another video. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is I had this brilliant idea yesterday, and this is for anyone who learns languages or speaks or wants to learn 2 languages at the same time. I've been told, I've got no idea if it's true, but I've been told that when you learn a new language, it's stored in a specific place in your brain. So I'm just gonna say here, although I've got no idea where it is. Imagine it's here. And so, like, I learned Spanish, right? So there was my little Spanish words. And then I came to Portugal and I learned Portuguese. And what happens is it goes into the same bit of the brain. So where my Spanish is, it's like, oh, Portuguese. And I live in Portugal and speak Portuguese a bit, to like, not every day, but a bit. But I speak Spanish a lot because I've got Spanish friends. So like, I now speak Portuñol, a mixture of the two. But I heard, because of this thing, it's best to learn languages at the same time. Battery power, 10%. All right, we're getting there. It's best to learn 2 languages at the same time. So I've decided, I just had this like, bing. Actually, I didn't even decide, it happened for me. I downloaded Duolingo and I was like, I'm going to improve my Spanish because I need to for my relationships. And it came up in the interface in Portuguese. I don't know how or why. So I'm now learning Spanish in Portuguese, if that makes sense. So Duolingo comes up with a sentence in Portuguese and I've got to translate it into Spanish. All the while, my brain's in English. I've got absolutely no idea if this is going to work, but I will get back to you and maybe try it if you want. And before we completely run out and I fall down, I'm going to leave it there. Guys, thank you for watching. I fucking love you. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like it if you did. Talk to me, talk to each other. Let's get chatting again. And have a beautiful day and a beautiful life. And I will see you in the next video. We've got this. Oh, sorry, it wasn't quite as harmonious as I wanted. Never mind.